Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Marketing Coffee House and this week's Coffee Chat. So, coming to you live on Friday at lunchtime. Hopefully, everybody's winding down your week. For anybody that is new and watching today's chat, the format will be that I'm gonna provide some information. This isn't necessarily a training session. It's more of a conversation about the topic. So I invite you guys to enter any comments or questions that you might have in the chat so we can have an interactive session. So welcome to everybody that's attending live. Also welcome to those of you that are watching after the fact. I'm really happy to see you and happy to have you. Tina Pittman, my old friend, glad to see you. All right, so this week's chat is about chatting. No, it's about chatbots, B-O-T-S. What are they, and do you need one? Should you have one? So I have some notes on this that I'm going to be following. I also have a blog article that I will probably post in the text whenever we're done with this live portion so that you guys can read more in depth about the topic. So basically what a chatbot is, everybody's seen them, but just real quick, those little guys that pop up at the bottom of the screen whenever you view somebody's website or blog. And also, you can have one specifically for Facebook Messenger that's attached to your business page if you have a business page in Facebook. So, but basically, and they just, when you go to the website, it pops up usually on the bottom right. Hey, welcome. How can I help you? And, the idea is that they're, how do I want to say? So the idea is that it seems like a real person is actually offering assistance, but that's not the case. That's why we call it a bot. So, what are some of the good and bad things about bots? So some of the good things are that they can provide enhanced customer service. So if you have a small organization or maybe even a one person organization and you can't be there all the time to pay attention to your incoming messages or whatever, it's nice to be able to have something that can handle that for you. That's one of the benefits. It can save you time. It can save, if you have a large organization, on the number of employees that you need. And you can also gather information about visitors to your website or to your Facebook page, for example. So, those are some of the good things about having them. The biggest drawback, as I see it, is it's a robot. So, your visitors to your website or your business page are not actually seeing and speaking to a real person. So, and that may or may not be a bad thing. I don't know. Depends on your situation. You can, now, as far as the Facebook Messenger bot, the one that actually shows up on your Facebook business page, that's run by Facebook. I haven't really looked at that one yet. I've looked at some other ones. And most bots, even for free, you can design to some extent that they're somewhat intuitive. So for example, if somebody comes to your blog and it says, hey, welcome to my blog, how can I help you? And they type in, I need information about marketing. Then, based on certain keywords, you can have different responses. The bot can give different responses. So it's not always a canned response. There can be some thought that goes into it and some interaction that you provide in advance so that when people do ask questions on your bot, that they're actually getting some useful information. and not just somebody saying, I'm just a robot, I can't really help you. At some point, they're going to get, they are, going to get to a point where there's no more answers that can be provided, and they're going to have to leave you a message or whatever, and you'll have to get back to them. So sorry about that. I didn't even remember to go get a cup of coffee, so I'm kind of bummed about that. So I don't know. So that's just kind of a little bit of background about the bots. So are they right for you? One reason might be if your customer service is, if you're overwhelmed, if you're getting a lot of people to your Facebook page or to your blog or your website, and you're just not able to respond, then that's one reason why a bot might be right for you. Tim, no, I can't believe that I didn't take the time to get coffee before this started. I'm really bummed about that. So, that might be one case. The other case is if you're doing e-commerce and you have issues with abandoned shopping carts, bots can be helpful for that. If you have a situation where customers are asking the same types of questions on a regular basis, so you can load canned responses to those questions into your bot, and people can actually get useful responses and useful information without you having to get involved. Also, if you have a service-oriented business, like a lot of my friends that I see on here right now are accountants or bookkeepers, it's a good way to begin communication with either current clients or potential clients that are visiting your site or your Facebook page. So, basically, the bot. So, for example, if somebody visits my blog, I can't be there to watch what's going on in my blog 24/7, nor can anybody else. But I want to be able to provide some additional information, maybe customer service or whatever. So it could pop up and say, "Hi, I'm Bob Sweats. How can I help you?" Or I might even say, "Hi, I'm a robot. How can I help you?" So people know. I mean, there's no need to try to be, misleading with this information. So basically, if somebody comes on and says, I'm looking for information about marketing, I might be able to point them to a page on my website that has to do with marketing or a specific type of marketing that they're asking about. I can, maybe direct them to an answer about accounting or about a service that I offer. So depending on what type of question they put in there, I might be able to direct them so that they can actually get the answer that they're looking for without having to wait for me to give them that answer. I can also put something there that if they decide to sign up, it adds them to my mailing list so that I can, continue further communications. Or do you have a question that that my robot's not able to answer right now? Please leave me a message. And now I can get that person added to my mailing list for future reference, and I can continue a communication with them. So this is really good for a blog or a website, even more so than Facebook Messenger, because you're not really getting messages, So people that might have just otherwise casually visited your blog might take a moment to respond to the bot, and now you can have a conversation with them that you would not have been able to have otherwise. Most times on Facebook, if they want to leave you a message, they're going to leave you a message. So I think it's more important, to be looking towards your website. Tim said, it would seem that one might do well to log all questions so that after some time one could assemble an FAQ page or build a chatbot for those questions. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. That could take some time to assemble a list of questions, and probably even without having assembled a formal list of questions, you have a pretty good idea what people are going to ask whenever they come to visit you. So, why else would you use chatbots? So that you can deliver content. So if somebody comes to my my blog and says, I need help with social media marketing, I could basically right there say, here's a link to download my free PDF about social media marketing. So I can provide content to them that otherwise I might not have been able to provide. You know, it's also a way to make sales because you're in some ways communicating with people that might not have otherwise communicated with you, and you might be able to make a sale, and also to provide customer service. So let me I kind of whipped through all that really quick. So, and for anybody that just recently joined, welcome and thank you for being here. We're talking about what a chatbot is and whether or not it would be a good idea for you to consider having one. So we just in summary, chatbots are the little things that pop up on the bottom of the screen, either on a blog or on Facebook business page, asks if there's any way that they can assist you. The visitor, puts some type of information in there, and based on that information, you can have pre-built canned responses that are going to return a response. So in some cases, you're able to actually carry on a conversation with a visitor to your blog or even your Facebook page without having to be there. It might get to a point where you've exhausted all those canned responses, or the bot has exhausted all those canned responses, and now it's going to say, please leave me a message. So that's a little bit about what they are. What would you use them for? You can use them for customer service. Sometimes you're able to have your bot answer questions that are able to actually resolve somebody's problem or concern without having to wait to hear back from you via email or some other method. You can also deliver content. So based on what they're asking for, you might have a PDF that you can send them and also get them added to your mailing list. What else? If you have e-commerce, perhaps it could help you to avoid abandoned shopping carts. So, there are different things that you can use. I'm going to put, because there's a lot of information here, I'm going to put a link to my blog post regarding chatbots, and all this information is kind of summarized and maybe even expanded a little bit more. I've tried to use them. A couple of times I put one on my blog and then I took it off. I don't know why. To me, it does take time to set it up properly. So, like, as far as I've gotten personally was to a couple canned responses, which basically resulted in, hey, I can't help you right now, please leave a message. So, to get beyond that, it takes time to set up. It takes thought, as to, this chain of responses based on different people's questions or what people might ask. So if you're thinking about doing it, I think it's a pretty good idea. Most companies are doing it, but it takes time to set up to do it right, just like anything else. So also, I was just checking in the blog article. There are a couple sources for setting up a chatbot. So there's one called, and this will be with links at the bottom of the article. There's one called Chatty People. This is one of the most popular chatbots for Facebook Messenger. Botsify, B-O-T-S-I-F-Y, Chit Chat Chimp. And there was one that I was using that was called what? Something Monkey, Mobile Monkey. I don't have a link for that one. But I could probably get it. Let's see. So, Mobile Monkey. I'm going to put Mobile Monkey in the chat because I don't have a link for that right now. So, okay, so there's Mobile Monkey. And then also I'm going to put in the chat a link to the blog article that has all of the information for you guys, as well as at the bottom of the article, information on 3 different types of chatbots that you might want to try out. So I don't know. Hey, give it a whirl. And if you decide to try to do it, come back to the Marketing Coffee House and give us your comments and let us know, how that's working out for you. And even if you want, someone to hop on and try it out and ask it some questions and see how that goes. I think as a group, we can all try to help each other in that way. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up for today. I don't really see any other questions. So again, this was not intended. I hope you didn't come here thinking this was going to be a training on how to do it. This is more just about generally, what are they? Should you should you have a chatbot or give it a try? You can always put it on, take it off, turn it off and on. So it's not that big of a deal just to give it a whirl and see how it goes. So with that, thank you guys all for attending live, or even if you're watching the recording. I appreciate everybody in the group and the interaction in the group. So feel free to contact me if you guys have any questions or need additional help. And I will see you next week.